This is WFYI News Now. It's October 28th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, Indiana's 3 candidates for governor met on the debate stage for the final time this election. More than 70,000 students from across the nation gathered in Indy for the FFA Convention. And improvements could be coming to the historic Norwood neighborhood in Indianapolis.
I am so happy to hear that the city has continued to work towards bringing assets to your neighborhood.
Those stories coming up. But first, Election Day poll workers in Marion County will get a boost in pay. As WFYI's Jill Sheridan reports, positions are still open for Indianapolis residents.
A new bipartisan proposal approved by the Indianapolis City County Council and signed by the mayor will increase pay for clerks working the polls this election from $100 to $180 a day. Inspectors will make $40 more than before, now totaling $240 a day. The primary role of poll workers is to make sure elections run smoothly. Workers may be tasked with setting up equipment, signing in voters, and monitoring the voting process. People who work as inspectors are required to attend training, and clerks are encouraged to do so. The Marion County Clerk's Office says it will accept applications up until the weekend before Election Day. The goal is to overstaff the polls if possible in order to handle an expected increase in voters. The proposal, co-authored by Council Democrat and Republican, also increases pay for absentee voter board workers. I'm Jill Sheridan.
Indiana's 3 candidates for governor met on a debate stage Thursday for the final time this election cycle, highlighting their different visions for the state. Republican Mike Braun, Democrat Jennifer McCormick, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater addressed many of the same issues they've discussed before. That includes property taxes, cannabis, and abortion. But they also tread new ground on issues such as labor unions, cutting government jobs, and gun regulations. On that last topic, McCormick highlighted a frequent target, Braun's running mate Micah Beckwith, who McCormick says is too extreme for Indiana.
He also said he wants his guns untraceable and unregistered, and that is just scary.
Braun pushed back, arguing he has called for strengthening Indiana's red flag law. That law allows law enforcement to temporarily take away someone's firearms if they are a danger to themselves or others.
Well, she constantly defaults to something other than what we're talking about, who's going to be leading the state. And my record on all these issues are clear.
Rainwater sought to stand apart from both of his opponents. On the gun question, that meant opposing red flag laws.
Because we're that close to our government telling us that because we go to this church or we're a member of that organization, that we have a mental defect and therefore they need to take our guns.
Election Day is November 5th. More than 70,000 students from across the nation gathered in Indianapolis last week for the 97th National FFA Convention and Expo. The National FFA organization is a youth leadership and development group for students interested in the agriculture industry. Billy Hildebrand has been an FFA member for 3 years at his local branch in New Mexico.
I love meeting new people. It's really fun here because it's just lots of good people from all over the country you get to meet.
Christy Meyer, the communications manager for FFA, says the goal of the convention is to cultivate a successful environment for the industry's future leaders.
Just a wonderful opportunity for the students to just learn and really explore. But more than that, I think it's a great opportunity for Indianapolis to be showcased to all of these students.
The annual convention is scheduled to remain in Indianapolis through 2033. And for our final story today, improvements could be coming to the historic Norwood neighborhood in Indianapolis. The Indianapolis City County Council's Metropolitan Development Committee unanimously passed a proposal for a new HOTIF on the near southeast side. Similar to a TIF, a HOTIF is a financing tool that sets up a district which supports neighborhood investment with a focus on housing. The Department of Metropolitan Development estimates that this HOTIF would raise about $400,000 per year. That money could be used for owner-occupied home repair, new affordable housing, or improvements to a neighborhood public park. The proposal passed a committee last week, and Councilor Braun Delaney says community involvement has been key to improved investment.
I am so happy to hear that the city has continued to work towards bringing assets to your neighborhood.
Veterans of Indiana's only black regiment of soldiers in the Civil War founded the Norwood neighborhood in 1872. Around 30 families still live on the land their ancestors purchased 150 years ago. The proposal now moves to the full City County Council for approval. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.